Hello and welcome to my blog, and particularly this series of reflections on questions raised by the Sexuality and Gender Survey. A link to the survey is in the description for this particular video. And today I'm considering question number 4. Were you to take a course of hormone replacements, either with an intention of masculizing your body or feminizing it, how do you imagine the physical and or sensual effects of this treatment may make you feel? Enhance or otherwise your sense of self? If you have taken a course of hormone replacements, how did the physical and or sensual effects make you feel? Now, this is quite a difficult question to answer, I guess, unless you actually have taken a course of hormones to actually really know. We can learn a certain amount, or assume a certain amount at least, from others, although from what I understand, different people's experiences can be very different in terms of how they react to HRT. I've particularly taken part in a number of seminars that were run by a transgender, by a trans man doctor at my own GP surgery for trans people, trans patients, supported by the clinic. And that's covered a number of questions that have come up from, particularly from trans women, but also from trans men, revealing some of the different effects of hormone treatment. And I don't know, obviously, the full stories, medical conditions and otherwise, of some of those individuals. But it seems to me that were I to take feminine hormones, I am not convinced that it would make me happy. I think I would need to go the full course, as it were. I would need to fully transition and not be somewhere in between. If I'm somewhere in between, particularly one of the secondary effects that come about is excess fleshiness, excess weight in certain perhaps unwanted areas. I can imagine myself falling victim to that, if that victim's not quite the right word, but yeah, actually potentially it not going quite as I would want. Maybe it would, but I cannot say. And I would be fearful, I think, of my own presentation. I would be more conscious of how I was presenting, were the hormones not having the effect that I desired, and also having the ability to give them proper time, so that, actually going through several months at least, to have, as it were, a noticeable longer term effect. I can't say how they would make me feel, how they would change my body sense. I have actually taken in the past a course of testosterone boosters. It was fairly limited, and at the time, this was over a period of several months, I didn't notice any difference. A part of what I was trying to do at the time, I was going through a phase when I was trying to overcome or curious to know if boosting my testosterone levels would overcome my desire to present as a woman very often. Well, the answer was it didn't. And it didn't seem to have very much effect in terms of my own sexual urgency as a male, or indeed my masculinity. I didn't feel any change in body tone or hairiness or anything, actually, despite this particular course. So that was my own experience of some kind of hormone treatment. I think surgery would have been a better option for me if I were wanting to present more en femme. And in fact, that's something that I reflect upon in another blog. Now, I particularly came to, I think, a decision around whether I would want to take hormones around about a year ago, when I was having some consultations at my GP surgery, which could have opened the door to that course. And fairly early on, I dismissed it. It was something I was thinking of very, very carefully at the time, but it didn't feel right to me, partly because I was nervous about the effects it might have in my own body, very uncertain about taking that particular course. But I wasn't convinced it was actually going to radically change my sense of satisfaction, my happiness in any way. I don't know, unless I'd gone down that road. But it was obviously something that needed to be thought through very carefully. So I think that that series of consultations really kind of forced this issue for me, at least where I am in my life now. But I think I'm also fairly satisfied that in my body there is a certain amount that some would regard as feminine without being effeminate. So I have certain parts of the body that are quite hairless. I am able to sense gentleness in my body. And I think I'm not aggressive. I don't have a lot of the usual associated masculine tendencies. So I've got quite a balance really between masculine and feminine already that perhaps means that I don't need, as a gender fluid person, to stretch too far in terms of what I need to do to feel happy in the way that I'm presenting as a female. So I think my general conclusion from this question is that my physicality as it is, my hormonal balance as it is, which I don't actually know what that is. I can only make some assumptions based on my physical presentation, probably is about right for me. And it seems to accommodate, if that's the right word, my identity and desire, my happiness, my satisfaction in being able to express myself in a gender fluid way.